Different. Okay, it's fine. It's
I'm
fine.
here for it. You
I'm
too.
just playing. I'm just playing. Yeah.
So tell
Okay.
us your name.
My name is Deshaun. I'm 22 years old. Reside in Baltimore City. I grew up in this area, but I currently live over West Baltimore.
Okay. And what are you doing down in Fells Point today?
Just being a good uncle, being a good brother. So decided to take my siblings off ice cream
Nice.
and my niece off ice cream.
And a
So
little pretzel.
yeah, pretzel. We actually went to Kilwins right here. So we
Okay.
got ice cream first, and then we traveled over here to get a pretzel.
You gotta have the salty
Yeah.
with the sweet, you know?
Ritual, ritual, yeah. But I picked up this card. It says, share a story about a place you consider your home. You hear many stories about home being where your heart is, or home being where your family is, or where you feel that warmth and that empathy. Today's climate, it's kind of hard to find that warmth and the empathy that you are currently looking for, or that you had before. And I feel like a lot of people are forced to find where home is for them.
Yeah.
I myself had to find where home is for me. A lot of times I felt as though not residing, but yeah, I say residing in a certain place. You know, it felt like home, but it didn't feel homey.
Yeah.
A lot of times I felt as though maybe confiding in this one person, you know, it felt like home, but it wasn't too cozy. But I know for me, one thing in which feels like home for me is being at peace with myself, because I feel the warmth and empathy that it resides in me, but I have to choose that. So honestly, right now in my life, I'm learning a lot. I'm 22 years old, like I mentioned before, but home is where I make it. Right now, living in this cold city, there's really no warmth and empathy. Like this is as much you gonna get right now. So it's up to me to make myself feel like home.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm just out and about. You know, like I said, I'm sharing ice cream and pretzels with my family. That's home.
That's like a really. Hold on. They're the.
It's Baltimore City. Yeah. So,
I think that's such an important thing to learn, and I think it's a hard lesson to learn that you get to create that experience or that feeling or that sensation, and no matter what's going on, you can still control your mindset around it. And it's hard when things just feel like compounded and chaos or heavy or like any sort of like isolation or not connected. That can all play a role in not feeling like home or cozy home or warm home or whatever. I have the second deck here of curious cards, and they're just questions that allow us to maybe go a little bit deeper if you're open to it. I will just pull 3 cards, and you just choose one card to go deeper, so you have full agency on where you want to go.
okay.
Are you okay
I
with
like
that?
that. And I resonate with what you just said deeply,
Yeah.
so thank you.
Yeah.
For sharing that.
Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
Okay, I have my 3 questions. I'm going to alter them a little bit based on your story.
Okay.
So you just choose one. So I'm curious, how does it connect to your overarching life story? So when you think about like making your home, creating your own warmth, coziness, whatever, how does this connect to the overarching? That's one question.
Mm-hmm.
The next question I have is, I'm curious, what was your gut telling you? So again, like you called it kind of cold, and that you have to create this warmth, or it didn't feel good to confide in certain people, or you take that how you will and what lands for
Okay.
you. And then my last question is, I'm curious, what about your story inspires you to keep chugging along? Like, what about that mindset that you had to create for yourself, or the realization of creating that?
I like the second and third question.
Okay, go for it.
But I feel like I take the middle one.
Okay,
What was your
this
gut
one?
telling you?
Mm-hmm.
The third question is a great question, but
Okay.
just letting you in on a little bit about me. Sometimes when I try to confide in someone, or when I feel as though I want this person to be home for me, it's hard, because you never know what that person is thinking. You never know how that person is listening, or like taking your story into consideration, and when you see their facial expressions, or when you see their responses to what you're saying, it's scary.
Yeah.
Because, at that point, you're in a vulnerable situation. You're being vulnerable right there. So every time I decide to let this person, be home for me, like let this person in on my life or whatever the case may be, it's always a scary feeling. So I tend to hold back. I tend to, keep certain things to myself because I'm like, okay, I'm allowing you in on my life, but at the same time, I'm not too ready to share this with you. I'm not ready to just open up completely because that's something that I just have to, contend with. That's something that I have to be ready for myself before I can give it to you. So if I'm not ready for myself to, open up or to make you home, I can't make you home until I'm ready.
What do you think makes you feel that ready feeling, right? Like that vulnerability feeling is so scary, and I think one of the things that we're seeing everywhere is people are struggling with vulnerability and like kind of jumping over that hump of discomfort. And so like for you, what is it that says, okay, I can be ready to be more vulnerable in this situation versus not that situation?
Well, first, I feel like, I'm going to go back to your first question, but I feel like it's trauma and security. Like, I feel like I grew up in a very traumatic-based situation. Literally, I'm from around here. We not too far from the projects. 2-3 minutes be right there. That's where I grew up at. I bounced from West Baltimore to East Baltimore to East Baltimore to West Baltimore, North, South. So it's like a lot of trauma there. But you try to find security within your situations. You're forced into a corner, and when there's nobody there to really help you, you got to find something that works for you.
Right.
So I'm still finding something that works for me. But until I find what can work for me, then that's when I'm able to let you in and let you know how I feel and be vulnerable with you. But it's something that I'm honestly still searching for. So I can't give you a whole spill or like a direct answer. But
yeah,
I'm still attending with a lot.
Sounds like though that you're really like trying to create space for vulnerability. You're so open, right?
I would love to.
Yeah.
I mean, we are humans. That's my natural instinct is to be open and be, out there. But
Connect.
yeah, connect.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not always safe. Like what you're saying, like you don't know people's intentions or like what's going on there. And if you are layered with trauma, being able to connect with someone is going to have a different lens, right? Than like someone who maybe doesn't have the same trauma experiences that you've seen or been through or witnessed.
Yeah.
And it makes it really hard for us to find each other, right? Because like we're coming at it like this question could be different for you than it is for me, than it is for someone else who comes behind you. And so sometimes we use the same words, but we're not actually speaking the same language. It's just really interesting. I don't know. So what do you feel like you hope comes from like the awareness that you have, that you're like, I want to connect. I know that there's some vulnerabilities. I'm not ready to go there with certain people, or I want it, but I'm not there. What do you think comes from that awareness? Or what do you do with that awareness?
Well, you can't make any improvements until you're aware of a situation.
Yeah.
So because I'm self-aware of my situation, I'm forced to just better myself.
Yeah.
Better myself. So I'm able to find home. So I'm able to be open and confide in people the way in which I would like to. But I got a question for you. How would you allow me to be open? How would you allow me to make you feel like home, personally?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me think with that for a second. How would I allow you
to be open?
To be open. I mean, I think it's like about not forcing, right? Like, we all have our own agendas, and we all have our own desires, wants, and expectations in life. But it's about being genuinely curious about you, like genuinely patient and curious about what you want to share and how you want to share it. But it's taken me many years to get to that place, right? Like not expecting people to show up the way I show up, or not expecting people to respond to something the way I respond. And I have to continually remind myself that sometimes too, right? Like the patience, I think, is really important. And then like asking for confirmation, like what did you mean by that? Or why did you say it that way? Or help me understand this.
Yeah.
Does that?
Follow-up questions. I like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that'll allow me to more so be open.
Yeah.
You know, like you're really trying to find a connection. But
Yeah.
for somebody who's really just listening and listening and listening and not asking those follow-up questions or not allowing me to be open, then
Yeah.
you don't got me.
I mean, one of the things I've learned, unfortunately, is that a lot of people have never learned how to ask questions. I don't know if you noticed this because it sounds like you ask people a lot of questions. Yeah. So you probably meet people who then don't ask the questions back because you're asking all the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems unfair sometimes, but yeah.
It does. And one of the things I learned about myself is sometimes it's a defense mechanism because I can control the conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like, did you see how you just flipped it around on me and it kind of like paused me for a second? Because I was
See?
like, wait,
Yeah,
I don't have control anymore.
That's
Yeah.
just me, you know,
Yeah.
but no, you got full control. You have full control. I'm mild. I don't like controlling nothing, so.
No, what I'm saying though is like you asking all the questions and people not knowing how to ask questions. How might you bring them along for like where and why you ask questions? Like that's why we designed this, was because I realized I was watching people just missing each other. Like you have somebody who's asking really good questions, like you might be asking really good questions, and someone else who's like telling great stories, but they're not connecting because it's not a two-way street. It's just like one way.
And that's
so like,
why.
yeah.
That's why I can't allow you to be home.
Yeah.
It just draws back to my point.
Have you ever helped them understand that they're not asking those questions back? No.
I don't think it's my job.
Okay. Good for you.
Yeah.
It took me too many years to learn that one.
See, I'm 22. I learned that early, so it's not my job.
Okay.
You know, so.
So what's one thing you want someone to learn from your lived experience and like the things that you're sharing with us today?
Going back to home. Find home for you.
Okay.
Find your home. Find your safe haven. Whether that's walking down Broadway Street, you know, eating ice cream and getting pretzels, or whether that's going by the water, watching the boats, you know, sail past, or whether that's confiding in someone who asks you questions, who draw you out, or whether that's praying. Find your home.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you
you
for talking with us and doing this with us today.
Thank you so much, Leah.
Yeah,
I
you're
like your
amazing.
glasses too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, sure. My name's Nyla. I moved to Baltimore about 3 years ago for grad school. I studied clinical mental health counseling at Hopkins. I just graduated, so currently not working because I'm waiting for my license to be processed. So just enjoying the time off and walking around the city.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's incredible.
Thanks.
Well, so you picked the card, share a story about your personal heaven. Tell us a little story about, like, what came up for you when you saw that?
Yeah, just recently I moved into my own apartment, and that's felt a lot like my personal heaven recently. Just really appreciating the small things, making meals that I like, decorating my house just the way that I want it, not having to compromise with anyone. It feels like I'm kind of cultivating my own personal heaven right now.
Can you give us like a specific like moment where you just had that like, you know, that release in your shoulders where you're just like, this is it?
Yeah, just last night, I think that's why it stood out to me. I was just lighting a candle with a scent that I really loved. I have a fridge full of groceries from H Mart. I was making some stir fry. And just realizing that if I was living with someone, they probably wouldn't like to eat what I was eating. So just enjoying being able to cook the food that feels nourishing for me, being able to go to bed when I want, and just having complete freedom in my own space.
Oh my gosh, that freedom makes such a difference.
Yeah.
Such a difference. Okay, so I have a couple questions for you. So
Sure.
this deck is called the Curious deck.
Okay.
And it's just three additional cards I'll pull that just ask like an extension of that story that you just shared.
Okay.
And you just choose one to go deeper on.
Okay.
One that you feel comfortable, that you're like, yeah, I wanna go there.
Sure.
All right, so yeah, okay. I have my questions. I just wanted to see if there's anything else good that came out of it. Okay, so with this like personal heaven that you've created for yourself, what did you discover about yourself? That's one question. Another question is, I'm curious, who do you wish was there? Like, being able to do it all for yourself is amazing. Trust me. Also, like, independent person, I get it. And like, is there someone that you wished you could share your personal heaven with? And then I'm curious about how did you bring it to life? Like, really, how did you make it what you wanted to feel that peaceful release?
Yeah. Those are great questions. Do I answer one of them or all of them?
Just one.
Okay.
or all of them, wherever you want to go.
Yeah,
You know?
let's start with the first one.
Okay.
You said, what did I discover?
What did you discover about yourself?
I think I discovered that sometimes I like to live in just a little bit of discomfort. I think I learned that when there's too much comfort, I can feel bored or complacent, and it kind of kills my drive. I kind of think of like a spoiled child who's given candy every day and then, gets to do everything he wants and probably isn't very happy with his life. So it's just been nice, like doing the little things, like having to work a little harder to take my clothes to the laundromat, just kind of keeping me on my toes, I think has given me more energy in a weird way.
That is really interesting, and I really like that. Like, I think what I find interesting about that is there's so much out there about how to make everything easy for yourself, and you're almost creating like little action steps for you to like make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is there anything that like you wish or you hope for comes with this like personal space of yours that you've created for yourself?
Things that I wish for right now. I think just having the clarity that I'm having right now, it feels like more space compared to my past situation of living with a partner. And I don't have any specific wishes, but I guess I am hopeful that the space will open up something new in my life, something creative, something free-flowing and energizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're in a very interesting new chapter in your life.
Yeah.
What do you hope that someone might take away from like hearing about your like little moment in time and like this like little window into your life?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I would love for people to take away that it's okay to follow your desire, and whatever's driving you in the moment is something that you're allowed to listen to, even if it breaks convention or if your family doesn't understand it or whatever people might interpret it as. I think at the end of the day, it's just you who has to live with yourself. So especially while you're young, following that is not only allowed, but I think so important.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
pulling a card with us and chatting and having a conversation.
Yeah, this is a really nice thing you're doing. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.